it was like this beast that just suddenly grew. And then on the day we had 6,000 people there, including Red Bull in their little cars, commending us on how well we'd done.
Amazing.
And, you know, then we're not associated with Red Bull, but they were like giving us a pat on the back, and we was just sort of stood there like,
yeah,
how did this happen?
How did we do this? Yeah.
And we'd raised over £23,000 in the first race.
Hello, my name is Eileen Leahy. I'm the editor of So Magazine, and today I'm going to be turning the tables on the lovely Nicole from Chatty Hatter and the Big Chat, asking her questions. She's normally in this chair, asking her interviewees all sorts of things, but for the purposes of today and promoting her brilliant podcast series, we are turning the tables and getting Nicole to tell us all about her path in life, how she came to be a podcaster after working in London, and, you know, just a general kind of overview of you and your kind of your goals, what you hope to achieve with things like this. I think with any good story, we have to start at the beginning.
Okay.
Because we need a little bit of background for those who aren't familiar with you.
Okay.
And yeah, we just need to find out from the sort of, you know, the beginning. You obviously left London. You were working in London. Yeah,
I was working. It's so weird sitting in this chair. It's so weird. I started work. I'm Tunbridge Wells born and bred. I was born in Tunbridge Wells, grew up in Tunbridge Wells, never left Tunbridge Wells.
Right.
Literally 47 years in Tunbridge Wells.
Wow.
Yeah, I know. Literally never went. But I did have a stint in London where I worked in London. And I worked in a few shops back in Tunbridge Wells, but then I went to London, worked in London. I was pretty good at sales.
Yeah.
Had a bit of chat on me. So I found that quite easy and like talking to people. And then I got into a relationship with the father of my children, and he got fed up with the late nights and was like, it's me or the job.
Right.
And so I came back and I got a local job in a media company, which was a great media company in Tunbridge called the IML Group. And they were wonderful to me, and I worked there for 8 years.
Oh, wow.
But then I had my children, who are now Elodie's 11 and Ruben's 13. And I couldn't do it anymore. I couldn't put them in daycare. And my
Something
salary,
had to give.
my salary was just paying for them to go into daycare.
Yeah.
And I wasn't seeing my kids. So I just thought, well, what can I do? I got thrown out of school when I was younger. I was a bit naughty when I was a teenager. But I just thought, well, what can I do? Well, I've been advising people all their life on what they can do with their money, advertising. Why don't I consult for them? And I approached my employers. I did it the right way. I told them what I was going to do. I wasn't going to do anything underhand.
Yeah.
And I actually freelanced for them for a good year afterwards while I was setting up Chatty Hatter.
Right.
I freelance sold for them as well until it just got too much. And then I thought, I've got to focus on one thing. So that's how Chatty was born, and that was coming up to 11 years ago now.
Gosh.
Yeah.
And did you find it daunting to launch something on your own? Because obviously you'd worked for people all of your professional life.
Yeah.
To suddenly then take the reins yourself and be in control of everything, which is great. Yeah. But you're also, you know, responsible as well for everything.
Yeah. I mean, it to be honest, it kind of like, it literally roller coasted. I mean, I started off, and I've told this story before and very openly, I started off approaching 3 people that would match my salary at the time, which was £1,500 a month. I approached 3 people and I said, if you will each give me a retainer of £500 each, then I will work for you on a retainer, and I will consult, and I will do this and I will do that. That was all I wanted to do. And the first 3 people I asked said yes. Brilliant. So I was very lucky.
Yeah.
I had good relationships with people that I work with. And then apart from the fact that my son would bang on the door and say, Mummy, I need a poo, when I'd be on a Zoom or a Skype at that time to the States, it very quickly grew and grew and grew. And I got to work with some really interesting people like Rick and Matt Sellers, who own Anorak, who were doing some things with Rio Ferdinand. I got to work with a company called Fat Fox Books, which published the Children in Need book, which was all working with some amazing celebrities. You know, I'd kind of just fell into it, and then it just grew, and then I needed more people. But I wanted to keep that real vibe of have home working from home. We started off around my kitchen table in Langton. And then it just sort of grew and grew and grew. And then probably around 5 years ago when my dad died, got really, really sick. And I met my now partner, Gary Jeffrey. That's when things really switched up, because then it was, I was approached to do something and I said yes. And then it really sort of ramped up what I was doing locally.
Right.
Rather than, I do quite a lot of B2B business as well that not everyone knows about locally. But so that's kind of how it all happened. It was a bit of a whirlwind. It was sort of the first 5 years, it was kind of going along quite nicely.
In PR and marketing?
In PR
sales,
and marketing and ad sales. And
so a
we
bit
were
of everything.
a fulfillment agency.
Right.
We'd purchase advertising for people, we still do, place budgets, planning, but it's become much more creative than that. It just became more creative. And then when Gary Jeffrey approached me about the soapbox race.
So that was the key moment.
That was the moment. We were doing PR for Jeans, which is now the Shuffle House. We were doing their marketing and PR. And then he said to me one day, him and his son Connor said, we've got this idea about this soapbox. We tried to get it off the ground 5 years ago. What do you think about this? And my team were just literally sat there just going,
don't do it.
Because, obviously everyone saw Gary driving around his BMW and thought he had oodles of money he was going to be spending on this soapbox race. And actually it was down to
not the case.
Yours truly to raise the money to put it on. But it was great. It was amazing. And I was so excited to do it and the project. It opened up my creativity. I realised my capabilities a bit more of what I'd been sort of stuck in this, I'm a salesperson, I'm good at negotiating, I'm good at talking to people, but I never had actually really let my creative side out.
Right. And this gave you that opportunity.
It really did. It really did.
And on a timescale, was this 2018?
Yes.
Yes.
It was 2018.
How do you go from sort of sitting around a table, chatting to businesses via email or on the phone, to suddenly taking on a huge, project that will involve possibly, hundreds, thousands of, people, money, pounds, etc. How did you sort of get your head around all of that? Or did you just literally go with the flow and did it kind of on the spot?
I think I did it on the spot, Eileen. I think if I'm really honest, I literally was just like, this is such a good idea. I didn't think about actually the massive impact it could have had on me. It was stressful. I'd literally just had my best friend passed away. I'd lost a pet. My father was dying in hospital. There was a lot going on. So it was a great distraction. So there could have been an element of that was involved. Yeah. But also the causes that we were raising for, which was Hospice in the Weald and Eleanor the first year. I was incredibly passionate about that and what they did. And the hospice was very instrumental in my father's passing and my best friend's passing, Robert Spurgeon. So it all fitted at the same time. Yeah. But I didn't realise the scale of the events. I mean, we very quickly, West Kent got involved and then they were building the chassis and then Rosemary Schrager wanted to be an ambassador. And then it just, our first launch night at Jeans, we had 100 people, Marker Study were our first ever sponsors of the event. It was just... It was like this beast that just suddenly grew. And then on the day we had 6,000 people there, including Red Bull in their little cars, commending us on how well we'd done.
Amazing.
And, then we're not associated with Red Bull, but they were like giving us a pat on the back. And we was just sort of stood there like, how did this happen?
How did we do this? Yeah.
And we'd raised over £23,000 in the first race.
Gosh, that's incredible. Yeah. And then obviously, things went ahead for 2019.
They did.
That was...
it rained.
It rained. But still, it went ahead.
It went ahead. We still raised £33,000.
Which is incredible.
Yes.
And then obviously a COVID curveball hit the buffers, as it were. And did you ever think at any point that, you wouldn't, put this event on again? Or were you absolutely determined to ensure that the town had something to look forward to every June?
I'm not going to lie. The second year, I was in quite a bad accident and in my own soapbox, and I got a nice dent in my face that was great at hospital with Gary Jeffrey. All the nurses and doctors saying, "How did you get that in a soapbox?" Oh, hasn't Tunbridge Wells got one of those? No. Yes, with the organisers. So I was actually it was a lot of stress, and I personally lost quite a lot of money.
Right.
The charities didn't. All the money that raises from the carts goes to charities. Your dear friend Richard Moore even said to me, he was like, "You're crazy. You're crazy. Why are you doing it like this?" But it was very important to me, the transparency. And actually Nick Moore from Marcus Study was instrumental in that. He'd said, the charities and everything should go very separately. And so that was always very important to me. But the stress level was high. But then the schools approached me.
Yes. So that gave it another element.
And I was like, the school kids want to do it. They want to build carts and race year 9s. And I was like,
good idea.
How can I not do that?
Yeah, absolutely.
And then COVID hit.
Yeah.
So we couldn't do it. So it got to the point where it had to happen because it had to happen sooner or later because of the children. I couldn't let the children down. But there was a massive gap in the community for speaking to our audience, being, the general public, new businesses, because it's a great networking event. It was great for bringing businesses and communities together. And that's how the Big Chat was formed.
Right. So
literally, that's how I just suddenly was like, I got humour, street artists in. I said, I've got this wacky idea. I want you to paint these walls. I want you to bring it to life. I want to do this. I want to do that.
This is in your studio here where we're sitting.
Literally where we're sitting. And I want to talk to people and bring to life, the people I'm not getting to talk to through the soapbox.
And this all happened in lockdown?
All in lockdown.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Had you ever done any kind of broadcasting before? Was it something that was completely new?
I mean, how did you badly if I go back and look on YouTube at anything I've spoken about the soapbox on, I cringe. But no,
I think everybody does. Yeah.
No, I hadn't done anything like that. Giles Paley Phillips, who's my dear friend and podcast producer and author, he has a very famous podcast called Blank, and he does a lot of podcast production. He's also an artist, a writer. He's currently writing directing a film. He's a musician. He's amazing. He was a real inspiration, and Chatty Hatter actually sponsored the first ever episode of Blank.
Right.
And I remember at the time in my office in Tunbridge Wells having a conversation with him saying, I'd love to do something like this for my industry. So it'd always been bubbling.
Been a little kernel of an idea. Yeah.
But the timing was never right.
Yeah.
But in lockdown it was like, well, I've got this time, I've got this space, I've got this, I can get this equipment, I can get people in. It's socially, we did a lot on Zoom.
Yeah.
You know, we did some fun things with Zoom with Tom Swift when he was in his Clue Cracker rooms. And, we had fun with it. Yeah. And that's a big thing for me, is having fun.
And about connecting the community as well.
Totally.
And charities especially. You were saying,
charities.
How did you, the first year you obviously had Eleanor and the Hospice in the Weald. Second year,
that was Tailor Made Dreams and Hospice in the Weald.
So you would always have Hospice in the Weald as the sort of number one constant charity.
Yeah.
And then you pick different ones because luckily the soapbox has come back.
Yes.
And last year was a huge success, so after a hiatus of 2 years, that's not always a given that something will be a success again, because people, time marches on and people forget about it. How did you keep the momentum going for the soapbox, knowing that, as you said, you had to do it because of the children? How did you keep that kind of flame alive, as it were? Because it's difficult when the world kind of turned upside down and everybody's attention goes elsewhere.
Yeah, I think keeping the momentum going was tough. I mean, it was hard. I mean, I own 40 chassis, which I had to keep stored.
Wow.
So there was a financial element to it, to keeping the company going, which people, we had to carry over a lot of the investment that had been put into the race, because we literally had to pull it in March, and it was going to go ahead in June. Yeah. We nearly did it for 2021, but I pulled the plug because I could see what was happening. Black Deer guys, bless them, nearly. We were the weekend after them, and I pulled the plug before because I just thought I just had a feeling about it, and those guys, I really felt for them. But no, I think it's the big chat was a way of keeping that going and talking to charities. And also we did do a soapbox series of chats with Nourish, who we work with, and we now open it up so all carts can race for their own chosen second charity.
Oh, that's good.
So now it's much more, because it's great to race for 2 charities, but the exposure that Eleanor got and the exposure that Tailor Made Dreams got, it just highlighted the exposure that an event like that can get for charities.
Absolutely.
And it's raising the money is just part of it. It's raising the awareness of what they do.
Yes.
Many charities approach us and say they want to do it because they want people to really know what they're about, and they get that platform to be spoken about on.
Yeah, fantastic.
So it's also businesses coming together. We've also opened the race up now so that we can have, friends can get a team if they want.
Right, so it's
you
not
could get
specific.
a team, Eileen.
Okay.
You could get a team. You've got a car.
Yeah.
You could get a team.
I could do, I suppose.
But literally, anyone can get involved. But the big chat was a way of keeping that communication open. And then it just kind of took off.
And it snowballed. So would you say now that you're doing more on the big chat than you are with your Chatty Hatter hat on?
I would say the Chatty Hatter stuff we do a lot of B2B. We are more of a podcast production agency.
Right.
Our website's currently non-existent, as in just a page, because we are becoming predominantly more of a production. We produce
other people's podcasts.
Series.
Right.
We did the TN cards for her the first year.
Okay.
We did Right Tuition. We did one for those, but we've done a lot of B2B, quite big scale projects, and we've got more coming out this year. We go to exhibitions and I host. I'm also training to be a radio presenter for West Kent Radio, so I'll have a show on with them later on this year. That's a charity. Getting to work with lots of other wonderful charities like Pickering Cancer Drop-In Centre and collabs with all different projects. So yeah, it has taken off now, but the big chat is there, but Chatty Hatter is more of a podcast production, digital media facilitator.
Yeah.
But we still write PR and we still place advertising and we still have, and we build websites and we do lots of things that clients
it's working
ask.
away quietly in the background.
Yeah.
But this is kind of, eclipsing, as it were, your personal kind of interest.
Yeah. This week's episode of The Big Chat has been sponsored by the incredible team Edney Edney. Now, if you don't know what Edney Edney is, these babies came from Edney Edney. Edney Edney will test and check your eyes, and they will fit you with the perfect pair of spectacles that will make you feel spectacular. I mean, literally, you've probably seen all the different glasses I've got. They just know. Go in there. They're a husband and wife team. Go in there and have a chat with them, and they will check out what lenses you need, and they will fit something perfect for you that's totally unique to your personality, to your brand, to your whole being. So thank you, Edney Edney, for supporting us by sponsoring the episode of The Big Chat and a few more, but also for letting me be an ambassador, because I absolutely love my glasses.
Do you think you're unique in Tunbridge Wells for doing this type of media kind of broadcasting, podcasting, whatever you would describe it as?
I would ask you, am I unique? I don't know.
I think you are. You are. But then I don't obviously, come across B2B, situations. Everything that we feature and are contacted about is, usually sort of for public interest.
Yeah, I think what's happened now is that it's been a long time. I've put a lot of my own investment into things, as I did with the soapbox. And I think these things take a long time to grow and a long time to nurture. And it's not just like you click your fingers and things look all shiny.
No.
There's a lot of thought, as you know, goes into it, like the beautiful magazine that you produce. But it's true.
Yeah.
And it's all the behind the scenes stuff and the events and everything that you do. But what I have realised about myself that I would think is unique is that I'm also a trained NLP coach, master coach. I was a yoga teacher for 12 years. I've been through a lot of mental health issues. I'm in PR, so I can interview people but get the best out of them as well. So people say they feel very comfortable with me. So I've done some MC, not MCing rapping, but Master of Ceremonies for the Amelia Scott Centre for Picnic in the Park. So there's more of these hosting things coming up now, and I do really enjoy it. So I would say for that, yes, I probably am unique because I find it very comfortable doing this. I like doing it.
Yeah,
this lights me up.
Yeah,
I leave
wonderful.
And I feel, because I feel happy talking to people.
Yes, you do, and you're a natural. You know, you were saying you were slightly kind of worried
I don't like
about
my
today,
photo taken.
but
I hate having
I think
my photo
most
taken.
people are like that.
Yeah, but talking like this, I love.
Yeah, and what's quite clear with your businesses that you've been, you know, kind of running for however many years, you do lend that emotional involvement to it. You don't sort of seem to kind of step away and kind of have that, departure at 5 o'clock from the business. You seem emotionally invested in it all, and I think that's probably what makes what you're doing a success, because you're not just switching off at 5:30. You're thinking about it constantly and looking at ways that, and it's not just about helping you and your colleagues, it's also trying to get, as you were saying, the word out there about charities that might not necessarily have the PR machine behind them, you know, the smaller people. You know, when people are applying for the soap race, are they kind of coming to you saying, we'd love to be in it because we'd like to help such and such charity?
Yes, they are, definitely. And, you know, and with the PR thing as well, and the marketing thing, I don't get everything right. I've made some mistakes. We all do. I've taken on projects that have been beyond me, and I've had to say they're beyond me.
Right.
You know, I'm not afraid of doing that now. There would have been a time when I would have said yes to everything.
Yes.
And I think that's what comes with age and experience.
Yeah.
Is that you know what you're really good at, and you know what maybe someone else should do that with you.
Also, it's a trait of a freelancer. You say, if you say no, you're worried you'll never be asked again, kind of thing.
Yeah,
so
but now I'm lucky
yes.
that I can be a bit more selective about what I do and don't do, and also, you know, what I can afford to do for people.
Of course.
But no, definitely it's people we've never really advertised. And so I have tried to step away from things before, but I end up getting pulled back in. And now I've accepted that I quite like that.
That's you. Yeah.
That's me.
That's how you operate.
And I'm happy.
Yeah.
Because it moulds with my life well and my family.
Of course.
And as you know, being a working mum.
That's what we're all doing.
We've got many jobs.
Indeed,
not just
absolutely.
these.
No, completely right. With the soapbox, just to quickly say, how do people, if they want to enter, what's the best way? Go to
the Tunbridge Wells soapbox
page.
Yeah, Instagram we're on, or twsoapboxrace.com. You can still get tickets. We've kept the tickets really, really affordable. I think we're going to do more with you this year, hopefully. And the big chat, we're just always looking for people. We're really, really focusing this year on mental health issues.
Right.
Any charities out there that want to talk, anyone that's got it's a hero's journey to me. For me, the big chat is talking. It was at one point talking to businesses about what they do and quite structured, which is great. But for me now, you know, if I was talking to you, I'd want to know where you come from. Where did Eileen grow up? What nurtured you into a journalist? What made you become the editor of So? I want to know about the person behind all of it,
the brand, or whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
and I think that's what's unique about the big chat, and I think that's what will keep it going and growing with momentum, and that's why it all feeds into the soapbox and chatty and everything else that we do.
So it's all interlinked, isn't it?
It is really, yeah.
With promoting the big chat, I know that you've obviously got a good presence on YouTube.
Yeah.
Are you looking to, let's say, grow your other social media platforms?
Yeah, I'd love to, but it's time. We're a tiny team.
Yeah,
and,
of course.
You know, believe it or not, I don't have bags full of dollar bills.
Yeah.
I mean, it's one of those things. Everything I earn pretty much goes back into what I do, and you know, I'm passionate about what I do, but I'd love to grow the audience more. But it's got to be the right audience.
Yes, okay.
There's no point having tens of thousands of followers if they're not interested in me,
if they're not engaging.
If I rub them up the wrong way, then go and watch someone else.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Well, obviously the feature in the magazine will help promote it.
Thank you.
You know,
Yes.
and I think it will get the word out there, because you know you unless you're a subscriber to YouTube or you've got an Instagram account,
you might not know.
You might not know, and obviously Tunbridge Wells is a fairly big place.
It is.
I do think, you know, that our role in this is definitely to help you, you know, increase that awareness.
It's amazing. And you've always been so supportive. You know I love your magazine. I'm going to give you a bit of love back now, Eileen. But I absolutely love what you've done with it. I love So. Tunbridge Wells Times have always supported everything that we do, and been really, really, you know, I really do really take my hat off to Kevin and the team and everyone that looks after things there, because you know, without the help and support of other people, you can't do it on your own.
No, exactly.
And people in Tunbridge Wells think they can. They'll find out the hard way. I'm afraid.
Yeah, no,
it's
exactly.
better to work as a collective,
as a team. Absolutely.
There's so many brilliant people out there, isn't there?
Oh, absolutely. And that leads me to my next question. In terms of interviewees, who would you like to interview? In Tunbridge Wells, or
I'd like to interview you. I would like to interview you.
That's
definitely.
fine. Yeah.
I would love to do that. But I think, I mean, certainly coming up in the future, I've just had confirmed that I'm going to be interviewing Tim Lawrence, who is, if anyone that's heard of the Hoffman process, which is a process that was brought over from the UK. I think it's quite public knowledge now that I stopped drinking about 6 months ago. But I just after my father died, I went into a thing called the Hoffman process, which is a Goldie did it, and Katy Perry's done it, and quite a few people. It's quite a big thing worth checking out. But the guy that brought it from the States to the UK, Tim Lawrence, and wrote the book The Hoffman Process, is going to come onto the big chat.
Amazing.
And I was lucky enough to have him as my actual faculty teacher on the process, thanks to this dent, because if I'd gone the week that I'd meant to have gone, I wouldn't have had him. But because I got my bump on the soapbox, I was pushed back a week, and I had him as my faculty teacher. So he's coming on. So I would say that's someone that I'm really excited to talk to.
Can you just briefly explain the Hoffman process?
The Hoffman process is a week-long retreat where you literally go and immerse yourself with no technology. No, it's almost a mystery. You can't talk about what goes on in there, but it's a healing process. Okay. So it literally is no technology, no contact with your family, nothing for a week. And then they heavily immerse you in meditation and several other techniques that have been originated from Hoffman in California and were brought over by Tim Lawrence, who studied under Hoffman. And it honestly, absolutely incredible. For me, it was life-changing. That was when my chrysalis started, about a year after my father's passing, and everything has sort of exploded from there on in. And yeah, I spoke to him 2 days ago, and he was like, yeah, I'd love to come on, Coco. I will be there in March, sitting on your sofa. So
Amazing.
He'll be coming up soon. But more guests like that are really inspire me, well known, but also linked with our community, or linked with me, or linked with something in our town, because I'm very proud to. I used to be like, oh, I've lived it all my life, it's so boring. Well, now I'm actually quite proud that I'm I'm a 47-year-old veteran of Tunbridge Wells.
But it's a lovely town to be from, and to be part of, for sure, definitely. And any other events or big chat?
Oh my God, I've got some, good friend of mine, Jamie Cook, SPN. She is like hitting it as a DJ.
Yes, she is.
As you know, and I am blessed enough to be going on her retreat. I'm going to be learning to DJ with her. In Ibiza, yes. And she has got something rather special coming up that I'm sure you know about in April, which we might be helping her with. Amazing. So I'm talking to her about that. And then there's a lot of other events. We've been working closely with the Pickering Cancer Drop-In Centre. We've been helping them with their logos and their website. We've been doing
rebranding.
They're rebranding, so we're helping them with that. And lots of other projects in the town. Actually, there's been a few that I've really wanted to honour that I did in lockdown that I haven't. Prices have gone up, and lockdown was a crazy time, and I've had to say to people, I'm really sorry, I can't do that. What I said now. But I'm always open to talk to people and wanting to help them. Anyone that wants to get their voice out there, I'm happy to do that on any platform that I've got that will help them. So I always try and sort of meet people's needs as best I can. So
brilliant. Well, it seems to be a very selfless thing that you're doing, but equally you get a lot out of it as well.
Yeah, so it makes me feel good.
It's a two-pronged thing.
Yeah.
Where do you see the big chat in a year's time?
I think actually in a year's time, I'd always thought, would I take it to other towns? Originally, the soapbox, I was going to franchise the soapbox. Now there are many soapboxes. I know most of them because of the insurance difficulties we had last year, which we don't have this year, thank goodness. But the big chat, I could see it actually stretching out over to maybe to other towns, talking to other places. I don't know, but specific areas. I don't know. That's where I see it evolving. And again, this radio presenting, it's West Kent Radio, small radio, but who knows where that will take, or broadcasting or podcast hosting. I host a lot at exhibitions. I host on behalf of people. I host on other series. But we also produce the series. We do all their audiograms. We do all their graphics. We help them with their scripts. We help them with their logos. We do a lot more than just. And our new website, when Chatties comes out, will demonstrate more of the digital side that we're doing. Yeah.
So. And when does the website relaunch?
Goodness me. I mean, after I've built a couple of other ones that I've got to build, as I say this smiling, I will, hopefully I would like to say by April. It will be out by April. But as you know, the soapbox is June 24th. So at the moment, I'm chatting to guests every Friday on the big chat.
Right.
And the soapbox, 24th. Chatty is a churning machine that goes on and on. But if I could get the website out in April, it would be fab to have it out. But people can just hit us up. Hello at Chatty Hatter.
Brilliant. And just lastly, with the soapbox race, because obviously we need to sort of drum up, interest and what have you.
Buy tickets, get carts.
What will be new on the agenda for 2023, if anything? Will you stick to the same sort of setup, because if it ain't broke?
We're going to have more food.
Right.
Because we ran out of food very quickly. We were told before we had too much food. We ran out of food.
Right.
We have more food because we've already sold so many tickets. So I would say there is a limit to the amount the park like us to have in.
Sure.
I would say people should start getting tickets now.
Okay.
I've kept them really affordable. Local and Live will be there with some music. We've opened it up to let people come in as teams, as collectives. So that's the new sort of bit to it.
Right.
And there will be more for children there. So there'll be more activities. So it'll be a bit more like the first year where we were, we'll have the climbing things, and we'll have the dino golf, and we'll have that. And there'll be bits and bobs going on that are activity led. So a bit more festival feel.
Yeah.
But the reality is people come for the races.
Yes, of course. So, that's the crux.
Where we try to sort of extend it out, and Paul Dunton and I had explored doing something in the evening. 5 o'clock, people want to go home. Paul will be there with the Local and Live stage. Pub in the Park always get behind us, and they might be racing. They were quite keen to race. And there's going to be a few different carts that people will be like, oh wow, they're here this year. So there's quite a different selection of people racing, and we just want to smash 100 grand.
So that's your aim.
That is my aim for this, is to raise. We've done 83,000, and if we could get over £100,000 in charity. Chatty Hatter is racing on behalf of Pickering Cancer Drop-In Centre. The Big Chat is racing for mental health resources.
Right.
So those will be our second chosen charities after Hospice in the Weald. But the main thing is buy tickets or sponsor us in some way, because every little bit of money that I get for sponsorship, surprise, surprise, does not pay for my nice jewellery.
No,
it pays
exactly.
for the events, and it is expensive to put it on. But all the money that the carts get goes straight to the charities. I don't want to see it. It goes straight to them.
No, absolutely.
And it raises their awareness, and it's such good fun.
Yeah, and will schools be involved again?
The schools are going to be working within their own department. It was a big thing for them. Yeah. I think they will rejoin us again in the future. Yeah. But for this year, they're going to do something within their own school, because it's a beast to do. Yeah. And I think they experienced, I did tell them they experienced it. But the ISSP, we're still going to be talking to them, involved with them. Okay. And there are schools that are interested in racing, but just not as the ISSP partnership this year. So we'll certainly be seeing a few teachers going down the track. I mean, I'm interviewing a headmaster later today from a school. So there's all kinds of bends and twists around the corner, And Tom Swift, obviously. Quite literally. Yeah. Tom Swift and Rosemary Schrager will be doing it.
So they're still on board.
And I expect you to be at the launch in April.
Of course. Absolutely. It'd be a pleasure. And just lastly, if people want to get in contact with you for the big chat,
yes.
They should follow you on, subscribe on YouTube.
The big chat, subscribe on YouTube. I think we're up to about 2.7k subscribers, but it's really organic reach. I mean, if people want to come and talk about something, we tend to get sort of thousands of views across all the platforms, Facebook, Instagram. I think we've even got TikTok. I have nothing to do with that. But we just, you know, we want to talk to people that are uplifting, got something inspirational that they want to share with an audience. And then it's about them putting them out as well, putting out that message as much as they can. So yeah, that's, get in touch, hello@Chatty Hatter, or just, you know, Google us, you'll find us. Somehow you'll find us, or just message me on Instagram. A guest this morning, he just reached out, he's an actor, and he reached out, and an artist reached out recently, and yeah, just get in touch with us, and if we like what you're about, then we'll fit you in.
We'll put you in the chair.
Yeah, we'll put you in the chair. You're in my chair.
I know. Well, I can't thank you enough for inviting me along to conduct the interview.
I know.
This is very, you know, obviously I'm used to interviewing people, but I'm recording on my phone. But no, it's been a really enjoyable experience, and I wish you all the best. And I really applaud people like yourself who are just so motivated, and it's not done for the, as you say, the dollar bills.
The top dollar.
It's done for the love of it, and to benefit everybody, actually.
Thank you, Eileen.
Multi-layered and multi-beneficial.
Yeah, and this will come out the same week as your beautiful magazine, so we will be in harmony. Synergy. That's what it's all about. But it is, isn't it? It's about synergy, and it's about collaboration. Indeed. And it's about the collective. That's what I like now, rather than it being the only competition I have is with myself.
Yes, indeed.
That's where I stand on that. You know, I'm like, one shoe doesn't fit all, but there's a shoe that fits everybody for each person.
That's very true.
It's that's the way I see what I do. If we fit, great. If we don't, I don't take offence. We move on. Exactly. It's but yeah, no. So thank you for what you do for the community as well.
An absolute pleasure.
Brilliant. All right. Well, thank you for interviewing me.
Thank you for inviting me to do so. It's been really interesting. Right. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Eileen. Thank you.